Hey everybody, Ryan Harrison here. This week on Harrison's Happy Hour, we have ATP doubles tour professional Jonny O'Mara. Jonny, thanks for coming on today.
Cheers for having me, Ryan.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is an athlete. Flat out, bona fide, quantified, Jonny O, what an athlete. And with that, they close out the men's doubles with a win, and they even up the match score at 11-11, and this is what World Team Tennis is all about.
Yeah, excited to get to talk to you. We haven't really gotten the chance to connect since this whole quarantine stuff started. How you been coping with everything? Where are you at these days? What have you been up to?
Yeah, so I'm at home in Scotland. Just recently moved into a flat, actually, so kind of helped me for the first few weeks of this whole, the whole situation. So I was able to build some stuff, build a bed, get the whole place looking good. So that's helped, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you're moving in, especially throughout the year, because it's nonstop, you don't really have much time to just take a break and really get your place settled. I've moved twice in the last couple of years, and each time it was pretty much just not me who was able to do it. So you've actually had some time to capitalize on getting everything that you really wanted. And, that's coming on the heels of a great start to this year. And you were playing so well, quarterfinals, the Australian Open, and then put together 10 wins in the first 3 months. Does that give you a lot of confidence? Was it disappointing that the tour shut down when it did, considering how much momentum you had? What's your mindset about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously, it gives me a lot of confidence because it's something that I've never achieved before. Obviously, making a quarterfinals of a slam, that was actually, that was a goal of mine at the start of the year, was to try and make a second week of a slam and then also to win an ATP title. So to manage to do that in, the third or the fourth week of the year was, it was giving me huge confidence, some great wins there. So it kind of showed me that, the level that we were playing and the level we were getting on the court is, it's good enough to compete with some of the best. So, I guess you have to take confidence from that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, part of the biggest battle when you get in those situations for the first time is everyone would like to believe that you have the ability to do it, but actually putting the results together and then having that sense of, belonging and knowing that you're able to make those wins, make those runs, it's a different sort of feeling. So now I'm sure that when the tour resumes, these milestones that you had set to achieve and hope to achieve, that that's where, you've already gotten to. And so the next one is to just find the next goal and achieve that one. So, getting into some of the things that you've been able to do since the tour shut down, has there been any video analysis or any reflection that you've done that has been helping your game since then, or has it just been total decompression?
Well, as you said, we had a pretty busy start to the year. So we were having a break, I think maybe 3 or 4 weeks, regardless of the situation. So, we had 3 weeks of, just getting at home, seeing some friends, seeing some family, just chilling out. But yeah, as the time's gone, there's, obviously you want to get back to it. So, me personally, I've been doing a lot of fitness, doing a lot with the other British guys on Zoom calls and stuff like this. And then also just trying to look at the mental side of the game as well, because, that's obviously, one of the biggest and some that I've actually had some challenges with, especially this year. Even though I had some success, it was something that I really wanted to look into. So just kind of getting the ball rolling with all of that.
Yeah, definitely. And doubles is different than singles because most people grow up playing doubles, and it's fun to have your fellow friends with you on the side. But most of the time you're playing a lot of singles matches. But one thing I've always been really impressed with your game is that your energy seems to really bring the best out of your partners that you play with. And I remember playing together in World Team Tennis when we were playing for the San Diego Aviators. It was such an incredible experience to play with you because even in times when I was lulling and I didn't feel like my game was on top, your energy level was so positive. Do you feel like there's an art to that? Is that something you've always had? Is that a natural gift of yours, just being charismatic out there, or is that something that you really had to work on once you started focusing on doubles?
No, I think I'm a lot better for other people than I am for myself. So it's a big part of why I love being, in team sports. When I was younger, I grew up playing a lot of stuff, and then my favorite always was being a part of a team. So It's why I was so interested and keen to get involved in World Team Tennis. But I can be a little bit hard on myself sometimes. But at the end of the day, especially in doubles, if your partner plays as best as he can, then it's amazing for me. So I'll be the first person to say, let my partner take the juice call here, as I think I did quite a few times with you.
Hey,
I don't mind you taking the juice points for me.
Hey, man, it's all about who's hot at the time. We had a number of matches where we complimented each other so well, and our games seemed to match up really naturally, as well as the energy level. When you're focusing on that sort of self-reflection, and you're trying to improve, and you have to do it with a partner, is it difficult to go to your partner and say, I'm really good for you, but for me, sometimes I get hard on myself? Does he pick up on that without you guys having to speak about it, or is that something that you guys will kind of reflect on together and kind of go and look at the start of this year and say, okay, well, we had a great start to this year, but this could have been a little bit better. Maybe in this match, I got a little bit more negative than the other one. How much are you leaning on him and his support there?
Well, it's interesting you ask that, because it's something that was a huge problem in my past relationships and my past partnerships. We struggled to kind of be open with each other and say the things that we kind of wanted to say without offending each other. Right. And I think my partner Aravallo this year, he was the first one that kind of not called me out on it, but we actually played our first match of the year. We played a really poor match. And it was the last 10 minutes that, we completely got the energy wrong. He's even more fired up than me. So at one stage he came, real fired up in my face, and it kind of, shook me a little bit. And I kind of went away for a bit, and I didn't know how I was going to deal with it. And we went on a cool down run, and he was there, and he goes, "Look, man, did I do something towards the end? Let me know. I need to know. This is the best way forward." And it's something that I've never come across before, and I really enjoyed it. So, I kind of said to him, "Look, this is kind of what, I didn't like. I didn't really know that I didn't like it, but clearly I don't." So he's been great at that. We chat a lot, and like you said, it's just whatever's best for the team. And if you're open and honest with that, then
for sure,
things can only be good,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in my personal relationships with the partners I've played with, I've done really well with my brother, and I've done really well with my good friend Michael Venus. And Michael and I grew up together, and I met him when I was 11, 12 years old. And I think that honesty and being able to talk to each other through your own hardships is what really makes a team click. And you see, the Bryan brothers who've been together for a long time, they seem to know how to get the best out of each other. So pretty incredible that you guys in the first match of the year were able to have that open and honest conversation, and we can see what happened in the results past that. You played so well, and so obviously that communication just helped build the bond so well. As you get into looking at your off season or short break season right now, because we've had a couple months and a couple more months to go, have there been any things that you like to do hobby wise since shut down? I know that you're a pretty avid golfer. I've seen a couple posts where you've been out there. What else have you been up to besides that?
Well, when we got back from Chile was our last event, I played a lot of golf. We were talking 4 or 5 days a week. But unfortunately, that's, not allowed to do that right now. I'm golfing in the living room, which isn't quite the same, but it's feeding the hobby a little bit. So I'm looking forward to when we can get back out there. I used to live on a golf course. I grew up.
Oh wow.
I grew up about 100 yards from the 16th green. So I've been playing since I was 3, 4, and just every day being out there. So
that's
I guess
awesome.
If you do it that much, you're gonna get half decent at it.
Yeah, and I've seen your swing numbers of times. You have a really smooth swing. I think you're going to get even better the more you get to play, because you're talking about being a low single handicap right now, and you play sporadically. So pretty impressive, because I've actually been playing a lot of golf since this whole thing started up. Our courses have still been open. Golf has been labeled an essential business, which we all really can appreciate, because it's essential for my time killing right now. But yeah, looking forward to getting out there with you sometime and playing, because we haven't actually had the chance to play together yet. So that'll be fun once it gets started. Yeah. So let's get into a couple of questions just to talk about like your personal life and how important that is to get into the tour. You know, when you talk about you're always posting with your girlfriend Lauren, and you're talking about her support for you. What's that been like? And I know a number of guys who travel 30 plus weeks a year. They struggle with being homesick. They struggle with staying motivated. Talk a little bit about your personal life, from your coaches to your family, and also her being there to support you.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most important parts of, like you say, tour life. I always struggled back in the day when my personal life wasn't going quite so well. I'd kind of take that onto the court, and that would kind of affect me. Whereas, if everything's good off the court, you've got great people around you. You kind of go on with such a clear head, and even little things like that are able to, on big points, you're able to deal with things better because that it's kind of just it's a game at the end of the day. Obviously it's our careers and it's our business, but when you can come off the court and like you said, I've got Lauren there who's come to the last two slams with me, and I've actually had pretty good results. So yeah, it could be something to do with her.
Whenever you docked into getting into the life of professional tennis, obviously it's quite different than a normal job. Was that something that whenever you guys were together and you started talking about, just the magnitude of what a win and a loss feels like throughout the year? There's so many obstacles and there's so many ups and downs, and it can be a bit of a roller coaster with the person who is with a professional tennis player, just because the emotions can go from 6 p.m. on Monday night, I just won a great match, and then you play 11 a.m. on Tuesday morning, and you have a tough loss, and you go from cloud 9 to in the dumps in that quick of a time. And was that something that was a little bit of an adjustment for her, or how did that dynamic
go? I know exactly what you're saying, but I think those they're definitely, it's more of a comfort blanket now. When the bad losses come, it's not so bad. Tennis, it's obviously so difficult, and when you have that loss, it's a killer. But as you get older, I guess, and other things come into your life, you kind of realize what's important and stuff. So the good wins have been great, and the bad wins have been bad. But I come off the court, and she's as happy for me as I am, win, lose, or draw. So
that's awesome. All that really matters. That consistency is so important. I mean, just when I ask that question, you hope to hear that, especially in a friend of yours. And we've gotten to know each other well over the last season of World Team Tennis, and then really cool how since then, every time I've seen you at a tournament, there's that sort of bond that you get whenever you have that much time spent with somebody. So really cool to hear that that's the sort of support cast that you're working with. That kind of bridges me to my next question. I want to talk a little bit about the tour life, and when we're discussing how it is an individual sport, and obviously even in doubles when you have one partner, but everyone else, with the exception of maybe a couple guys that maybe you're from the same country, and that you don't have an overwhelming bonding experience with everybody, right? Because there's always a little bit of a gap, because you do have to compete against that person and play against them for your livelihood. So, talk a little bit about the friendships that you've developed, and then how you've adjusted to, your friends who you have as your childhood friends back at home, but then you obviously want to still be social. And you're kind of like me. You like to talk to a lot of people and have a good friendly relationship with everybody. Is it difficult to decipher the friendship, and then once you get on the court, and let's say you're playing somebody in an ATP final, and all of a sudden you really have to go out there and disregard all the friendship?
Funnily enough, I get on really well with the Skupskis, Ken and Neil. And 2018, maybe, we played them 4 times. Yeah. And then last year we played them in the first round of the French Open, which was really unenjoyable, because like you say, you kind of create such a nice little vibe with them, and then all of a sudden it's like there's a big match going on here.
Was there any animosity in those matches? Was there any moments that the little bit of the competitive juices overtook the friendship for that moment?
I think it'd be more interesting to have Bambridge and maybe Neil Skupski on to see their answers. But no, for me, it's I'm also good friends with Dan Evans, and so there's obviously that doubles and singles. So we aren't competitors, so it's kind of very rarely will I play Dan Evans in a doubles match. So we can kind of be as close as we want without that affecting. And but no, it's of course it's difficult, but me and the Skupskis, we get on like a house on fire. So
that's awesome.
you know, we can put it to the side, and you go out, you battle. As it was for us, we get cuffed 2-1, and then we go for dinner later that night. So
yeah. Well, that's great. I mean, I've always just found that it's an interesting dynamic, and like you said, the difference between someone who primarily focuses on singles like Dan Evans and then yourself. A lot of my best friends have come in guys I wasn't directly competitive with for the very reason you talked about. You know, if you go to dinner with Dan and you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable with your game, or you had a rough day at practice, you're able to be honest about how your day was and what you're feeling. Whereas if you you know, I've always felt like there was a super stock answer when I was talking to competitors about how I felt. You know, I could have felt awful and it could have been 150 miles an hour wind. But if they asked me how I felt that day, I was going to go, I played great. Didn't you?
Yeah.
You know, there's always a different vibe there. But, you know, I want to get into a couple fan questions. We had a couple fans send in some questions for you. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna fire away a couple what the people want to know, because
let's go.
What I want to know is near as important as what they want to know. So growing up, did you have a tennis idol, and if so, who was it?
Andy Murray.
Murray.
Yeah, I've actually grown quite close to him. When I say that, he abuses me every time he speaks to me, but I think he does that to most people.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember. I honestly can't remember matches of me when I was watching tennis that he wasn't involved in. It was, you know, since the ages of 9, 10, 11, I'd be getting up at 3, 4 in the morning to watch him play the Aussie Open. And yeah, just a massive fan.
Yeah, Olympic gold medalist there. I mean, how cool was that experience being in London? I'm sure for you, watching that was a really sense of pride, knowing that that's what he was representing. I mean, how cool was that?
Yeah, especially, you know, being done in Wimbledon against Federer, especially after just losing the Wimbledon final. So, I mean, I think he, you know, obviously incredible player, slightly still underrated to what he's achieved, I think, because, you know, how difficult it is with Federer, Nadal, Djokovic. So, yeah, I mean, I love watching him play. He's very Scottish, which, obviously, being a Scotsman myself, we got a hard time for shouting at his box, really showing his emotions. But
I can definitely appreciate that. I bring a little bit of that vibe to the court as part of my personality also, so I can really appreciate that. And I think that Andy Murray's resilience is certainly not surpassed. I mean, he's equal to, if not better, as far as resilience go than anybody, and that's just because a number of people who are on the doorstep so many times and right there. And he really fought so hard to persevere. And ultimately he's a Grand Slam champion, and he ends up winning majors and the gold medal. I mean, how cool for him to know that he overcame, you know, what is probably going to be the three top major winners when it's all said and done, you know, Rafa, Novak, and Roger at the same time. So cool question there. Do you have a favorite pump up song? Does it change, or is there a general genre that you like? Who gets you fired up?
No one in particular. I prefer older music. So I was always a big fan of listening to Queen. But if it had to be anything, again, going back to the Scotsman, it's the Proclaimers and 500 Miles. That's a top song.
Hey, I like it, man. That is some interesting but good pump up music. Seems like, and I'm like this too, a lot of people when they work out, they want to hear music just blaring out their ears. For me, when I work out, I need something to just kind of calm me down, keep my heart rate down. So I can appreciate that that's the vibe you're trying to get into, because when I go out there, I feel like my heart rate's about 200 and I have to just chill out for a second and get ready to play.
Yeah, I'm looking for the words that they're saying. I want them to speak to me before I get out there, you know?
Hey, speak to Johnny. I mean, send him some encouraging words. Speak to his soul before he goes on court. All right. Do you have a favorite place to play outside of England? And if you had to choose where to live outside of England, where would it be?
Good question. Favorite place to play? I loved Estoril in Portugal.
Yeah, gorgeous place.
That's actually the tournament that should be going on this week. So a bit tough,
it is.
But beautiful place. Played well. And anywhere to live, I think I'd have to go San Diego. You know,
San Diego is a great city.
Yeah,
how good of a city is San Diego? That's awesome. That's awesome. Good stuff. Yeah, Estoril. Next time you go to Estoril, just take a look at the Champions Wall and tell me if you see Harrison on there. Me and Mikey Venus took the title there one year, so I have great memories of Estoril. So I really can appreciate that being.
Doesn't surprise me. That
city.
Really doesn't surprise me.
No, I had to throw it in there because those titles are few and far between. So I had to scratch myself on the back for a minute. But listen, man, thanks so much for coming on. It was a pleasure to have you on. I'm glad for us to catch up on a personal level. Here, you're doing really well. Congrats on the new place and moving in and all that. And we hope you stay safe over there. Let's get back on the tour soon. Let's bring back tennis as soon as possible. So keep doing your social distancing. I'll keep doing my social distancing, and then we can give each other a big hug once it's all said and done.
Love it, Ryan. Cheers for having me, mate.
Thanks a lot, guys.